So I'm very pleased to welcome you to the French residence for what is my third and unfortunately last 14th of July in London. And thank you for your reaction. I'm happy that Philippe Hammond, who was present at my first Bastille Day as Foreign Secretary at the time, can be with us this evening. I also thank Amber Rudd for being with us earlier. 3 years ago, when I arrived from Beijing, I was very enthusiastic about working and living in London. But I thought I was coming to a relatively calm country. And some people even told me that after Beijing it could be a little bit boring. So, the past 3 years have been action-packed, to say the least. I've witnessed the referendum in Scotland, 2 general elections, and of course the referendum on the European Union. So much for those who believe diplomacy in Europe was past its peak. Cher Philippe, if you allow me this observation, you've given us a lot of work. Some of you may have heard a rumor that I might be taking up a new ambassadorship in a very large country. You know the diplomatic tradition whereby you don't announce the country where you are going until you get formal approval. But as it is always a good idea to quote Churchill in this country, my destination is a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. Since no elections are planned in the UK next year, at least not yet, I've decided to live for a place where there will be elections. Speaking of elections, France wasn't to be outdone this year. After a very long election campaign and many twists and turns, we're proud to have a new president and a new parliament, which have got done to work very quickly. The reforms begun over the past few years will be continued and stepped up. A reform of the labour market will be presented in the summer. I'm living in London at a time when the UK is facing many challenges. The negotiations between the British government and the EU began a few weeks ago. I'm not going to deliver a long speech on Brexit. You know my opinion on this. But allow me to make one comment. I still hear people say from time to time that France wishes to punish the UK. This saddens me. France has no interest in doing that. At the same time, France's priority in these discussions is to protect the EU's interest in the short, medium, and long term. While we regret the UK's decision, we have to live with it. And the most direct and logical consequence is that Britain cannot and will not have the same rights outside the EU as it had as a member. In this context, maintaining good bilateral relations between the UK and France will be more important than ever, even though they can't replace everything. They begin with our human bonds. During his campaign, Emmanuel Macron described London as the 6th largest French city, borrowing one of Boris Johnson's favorite lines when he was mayor of London, even if he said that it was the 4th French city. I say this because I know that many French citizens who have made the UK their home are worried about their future. And the French government will pay very close attention to their situation, your situation here, in the framework of the negotiations underway in Brussels. But whatever tensions may arise during the Brexit negotiations, let's never forget what unites us: our shared interests, values, and destiny. The appalling terrorist attacks which have hit the UK and France over the past year have reminded us, tragically, that our two countries are, whatever people say about them, inextricably linked. We uphold the same values and we share the same responsibilities on the international stage. It is therefore all the more important for me to emphasize, in President Macron's word, that more than ever France stands alongside the United Kingdom. There is no greater responsibility for a government than delivering security. The Franco-British defense relationship has no equivalent in Europe. We are Europe's strategic twins. While this cooperation is strong, it will be further deepened to meet the rising threats to our shared European continent. Our leaders are committed to this endeavor. Let me focus on two substantive developments. On counterterrorism, President Emmanuel Macron and Prime Minister Theresa May agreed to a joint counterterrorism action plan last July to ensure the internet cannot be used as a safe space for terrorists and criminals. We are now jointly working within the European Union and the G7 to mobilize our international partners in this direction. On defense, we have been developing our capabilities in a combined joint expeditionary force, and by 2020, this unprecedented military achievement will allow 10,000 French and British troops to be deployed swiftly and jointly in combat operations. Our two nations have made tremendous efforts to reach this capability, including through high-level joint exercises. Beyond the critical issue of security and defense, Franco-British relations rely on intense economic exchanges. The past 3 years have seen major achievements by French and British companies. The Hinkley Point project in particular, which was signed last year, is one of the most important of the past decades. It will create thousands of jobs in our two countries and meet about 7% of the UK's electricity needs. But French companies are present in many other sectors. I recently visited the Crossrail project in which Alstom is involved, and I would like to thank all those here which sponsor this event today. To maintain and organize the political and economic ties between our two countries, I decided, together with my British counterpart in Paris, to launch a Young Leaders Exchange program. And after a year of hard work, the very first group was able to meet in London last month. And I can say that carrying through this project has been one of my greatest sources of pride as ambassador to the UK. I want to thank the Franco-British Council and the Foreign Office, without which it would not have been possible. These 3 years in Britain have been very exciting for me. Representing France and promoting Franco-British relations has been a pleasure and an honor. I love this country, its way of life, its culture, its very special humor, and its resilience. I have traveled its lengths and breadths and experienced its diversity and richness, from Scotland and even the Shetlands to Wales, from Northern Ireland to Jersey and Guernsey. I will always remember my discussions with the many veterans of the D-Day landings, to whom I had the honor of presenting the Légion d'honneur. More than 5,000 of them have been decorated by France, in line with the commitment made at the 70th anniversary of the landings. Those brave men and women remind us that France and the UK have fought side by side for more than 200 years. We share a common destiny. In a country where election results are unpredictable, who knows where the Brexit negotiations will lead? In any case, I hope solutions can be found in the interest of France, the UK, and the European Union. And before leaving the floor to the Chancellor, I would like to finish by thanking the British authorities all ministerial departments for the good contacts we've had over the past 3 years, and all the other partners who helped maintain Franco-British relations. And I would like also to thank you, cher Philippe, as I know you yourself have contributed to maintaining those links, whether it be as Defense Secretary, Foreign Secretary, or now Chancellor.